Good, good evening, Texas bikers and bikers all across the nation. This is Texas Biker Radio, number 425, and my name is Mel Popeye Moss. My co-host each and every week, Mel O.G. Robbins.
Alive and healthy.
And tonight, tonight in the geezer cam is Dutch. He's a Sons of Liberty Riders MC members, and he's sitting in for Geezer wherever the hell he's at. But we digress. You ready to get into it, OG?
Let's go for it.
Yeah. Well, as I brought up in the promo yesterday, which lasted longer than I thought it would because I went on for about 20 minutes, you know, we were talking about the cases we have with bikers and the fact that this ignoring the Constitution as we're seeing play out now in Washington, D.C., this is nothing new to us. We've been seeing this for decades, at least the last 40 years. And we have that going on right now in the courts across Texas where we have bikers that are standing trial. And they shouldn't be because they were riding lawfully. And in some cases, they had their weapons confiscated. Texas should be an open carry state, no matter who you are. But what we have these young men on trial over a constitutional issue. They were vetted by the state as non-criminals, and yet they find themselves on trial for criminal carry. And the laws over this thing are conflicting. And that's what I was talking about last night when I was talking about cleat.
Now, wouldn't you think that before the governor signs a bill, he would have something more than a moron on staff or morons on staff that would advise? I understand politicians can't necessarily read every word in every bill
right
before they sign off on them. But that's
right.
what their staffs are for. They're supposed to be hiring these sharp young interns and wannabe attorneys.
Yes.
So the governor must have a staff, a room full, a barn full of nothing but absolute fricking morons that should have done some research when a bill comes through to advise the governor, you might not ought to sign that, Gov, because it's in direct conflict with a law that's already on the books.
Exactly. So they have conflicting laws now. But the thing about the Constitution, their cases, how do you say it, OG? They rest on the Constitution itself, and that their rights have been violated by law enforcement with no due process, everybody, none, zero. And I know you heard me say this last night, but it's worth repeating again and again and again, because you have to shine the light on this. And we have judges, it's all the judges, who absolutely don't have the brains or the balls or whatever else to make a decision over this stuff.
It's all God complex.
Yeah, that too, a God complex. Although they're going to back up law enforcement even when they're wrong, dead wrong. Because as the Department of Public Safety here in Texas, who maintains the gang database, has said, we don't identify anybody as a criminal when they request a when they pull you over and they go in to check, they call in to check you out, they do not identify you as a gang member.
Well, don't they say right on their paperwork that this should not be used in a court of law?
Shouldn't be used in a court of law, but yet that's what happens.
Because there was no due process to get the name on the list to begin with.
That's right. That's right. It is unbelievable what we've seen go on in the courts here, and especially what we've seen over the last, 6 years, 8 years?
Easily.
Yeah. I mean, we started figuring that out in Waco, and each year we learn something new. We really do. We're always learning. It never stops. It never stops.
Well, let's see. We met a biker. Well, actually, I met him when I was over in Mississippi at the National Council of Clubs. You weren't able to make it then. I can't remember why, but you
I
were...
think I was
Oh,
prepping.
yeah. You had your cancer surgery.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you were laid up. And this biker had gone over to El Paso to show respect for a guy that had gone down on a bike. And
Yep.
because he was at that funeral, he ended up in the criminal gang database. Now, let me follow that up with an even stranger story. Our chapter was up here from Houston, and we needed to start a bank account. So we accompanied him to the bank, and we were talking to one of the loan officers there that was setting up the account for us. And she was all chatty and, wanting to know about what we were all about, and suspected we were straight out of the Sons of Anarchy, I think. But nonetheless, we were talking and chatting, and we started talking about profiling and criminal gang databases.
Oh, yeah.
And she said, let me tell you something. She said, I have a girlfriend over in California that was dating this guy. He was a biker.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, she's a good friend. She's a good girl. She was dating this biker, and she's sitting in a restaurant. And I guess he never disclosed to her that he'd been to prison, which may or may not have made a difference. But, maybe she'd have thought a little harder. Anyway, they're sitting in a restaurant having lunch. Law enforcement shows up. They stand this guy up, pat him down. He's got a gun on him. And so it was a definite criminal carry.
Right.
Definite. However, they took her name, and she subsequently ended up in the California criminal gang database as a known associate of someone of a felon who had been convicted of criminal carry and was a biker. So you have a totally innocent party, but because they were sitting at the same table, maybe at a funeral, a Thanksgiving dinner, who knows? But because you're there and they happen to take a picture of your driver's license or copy information on you, you are now in a criminal gang database. That's how uncontrolled it is.
Yeah.
It's at their whim.
Exactly. And of course, they operate these gang databases under a veil of secrecy. And, you can write them, which I've done. I wrote to the Inspector General. It's a woman, a lady, which I'm okay with that. I wrote her several times, and, she does not respond. Ever. So I guess when we get down there for Legislative Day, I'll go knock on her damn door. And as everybody knows, I will do that. I make no qualms about it, but You know, we've got things that we're going to do about this. But this is what's happening, and I just wanted to bring up what we're witnessing happening in D.C. and happening with the courts right now, where the courts are basically ignoring evidence, solid evidence that would either convict or exonerate somebody. We've been seeing this for years. This is nothing new. And oh gee, what, you know, being as and the word I was looking for, their cases hinged on constitutional issues.
Correct.
What do you think happens if it continues like this and gets worse, where they ignore everything?
Well, we're kind of seeing that now.
I know, it's
with the
incredible.
current election. Constitutional law is being blatantly disregarded.
Yes.
And everyone's standing around saying, well, somebody's got to do something about this.
Didn't you wonder just, and like we've already brought up, these cities that claim they're Second Amendment sanctuary cities, when are they going to start folding like cheap suits like we've seen so far with everybody? I mean, are we going to have different law enforcement entities battling with each other? You think that's going to happen? Or you think they'll fold?
When the rubber meets the road, that's when you tell the difference between a keyboard commando and a true patriot.
Mm-hmm.
That's precisely when you tell. And it's coming.
It's coming, everybody.
Because, you know, everyone likes to say, well, somebody's got to do something, or why the hell isn't this happening? Why isn't that happening? How come this isn't being taken care of? And if the courts issue an order and they're not followed, who's backing it up? Mm-hmm. I've always kind of wondered, you know, if the Supreme Court issues an order and you don't want to follow it, who do they call? They call 911?
Yeah.
What do they do? Chase them down the street in their robe? You know, I mean, let's get real here.
Yeah.
What everyone needs to realize is the people, or the solution to the problem, the ones that have to do something about it, are us. And that's where the rubber's going to meet the road. And if you don't understand what I'm saying, go back and study the American Revolution.
Yeah.
Take a look at the Loyal Nine, Sons of Liberty, the 3%. Understand what all that means, because it's coming, and you better be prepared.
Yeah.
Because you're the ones that are going to have to do something about it. It's no longer who, it's you.
You know what, everybody? And here's the truth of it. Everybody says the damn Republicans, the damn this, the damn that. This is our fault. This is our fault. We reelected these bastards again and again and again and again, where many of them have been there 30 years. We can't get rid of them. And we have the capability of primary them out. And we haven't done it. We keep letting them congregate with each other for years on end, for decades on end, and what they've done is they've found a way to enrich themselves, because they're all about themselves. The elites can't have Donald Trump. He was throwing a monkey wrench into everything.
Let me throw a hairball in there.
There we go. Throw one.
You say vote, and your vote counts. I'm not so damn sure that matters anymore.
Well,
you know, after witnessing what we've witnessed.
Exactly.
They've been allowed to bring in machines that can be hacked, computer software that can be adjusted to weigh votes. And everyone's sitting around looking at one another. Sydney keeps saying she's going to loosen the Kraken, but no judge will listen to her so far.
Nope.
The biggest hope we've got going so far is Texas just recently, if not today, filed suit against those states that are running rogue, and Ted Cruz has volunteered to argue the case before the Supreme Court involving Pennsylvania.
Yep.
So there's hope on the horizon, but, you know, we let these turkeys get by with this crap without running them out of town on a rail. Bring back the tar and feathers, I say.
Yeah. Now, you know, we talking the other day, I said, you know, things were slow over the weekend. But I did hear one thing. I heard that Justice Roberts was working on the other Supreme Court members and telling them, we don't need this. We don't need this falling in our lap. And so he's working the other justices. And so this is going to be a hard road to hoe. That's the reason we are saying to everybody on the front page of TexasBikerRadio.org, there you can send an email to SCOTUS, to the Supreme Court of the U.S. You can send an email to them and let them know that they need to take this case, they need to hear it, and they need to do the right thing. The election was compromised. It's that simple. It takes you 5 minutes to do it. 5 minutes. That's on the front page of TexasBikerRadio.org. It's up at the top. Click on it, send them, click on the link, send them an email. Do it, please. En masse, everybody. We're working as hard as we can on the Constitutional Warriors Facebook page, but it's not filling up fast enough. We need 1,000 people there that are ready to send emails, that are ready to act.
Well, let me tell you something weird.
Go ahead.
You know, we're trying to propagate that new page.
Yeah.
So I dutifully go in and I invite, probably the first time around, 40 or 50 people, because it says invite.
Right.
And you select them all.
Yeah.
So I press invite. It sends them all out. And shortly thereafter, I get this message that I've invited too many people, and I'm not going to be allowed to invite any more for a while.
Really?
Now.
That's Facebook, everybody.
Now.
Damn.
No, there's more to the story.
Go ahead.
Shortly thereafter, up flashes on my screen that something like 10 people have accepted invitations to the page, and I should invite more. Talk about stupid and moronic.
Oh, God.
That would be the pure definition of Facebook.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Ghost Eagle says, I'm working harder than an ugly stripper on welfare. Good. That's a good one, Ghost Eagle. Oh, how funny. But, yeah, guys, we have cases that hinge on constitutional issues. And everybody, seems like everybody now, is ignoring the Constitution. And, oh, gee, I just found out the other day the Constitution doesn't mention anything about all these dates out there, these drop-dead deadlines over the president-elect or who's president or whatever else. The only thing it mentions is January 20th.
Hell, they used to have the inauguration sometime in June, if I remember right. That was because it took them so damn long to travel.
Yeah.
So Now they've moved it back, but you're right. The Constitution does not talk about a drop-dead date.
They said all this is
Does not.
Constitution supersedes all those other laws, no matter who wrote them. And that's the truth of it. You want to get right down to it. And those Supreme Court judges should know this. They should know this. But you know, OG, I go back and I blame first us for reelecting these people again and again and again.
Absolutely.
And allowing them to do what we've seen now. And I'm talking about the elites in both parties. Neither one of them like Donald Trump. And they're all in on this. They're all in on it. They can't have him there. So here we go, everybody. It's going to be up to us if we can, even if we can, at this point. Because they're in the driver's seat, or at least they think they are. At least they think they are. But now we have to sit back and I guess, let this play out. Let this play out. And then start watching real closely who's going to be affected first. And already, OG, those people are trying to take credit for the speedy vaccine.
Oh, yeah.
They were poo-pooing it over the weekend. Don't nobody take it, blah, 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 going on and on about it. Now they want to take credit for it.
It's like Al Gore saying he invented the internet.
Yeah, yeah. That's what I heard he did. He also got rich off of fossil fuels.
And carbon credits.
That's right, carbon credits. I got a story about carbon credits, but I'll save it for later. But it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out and how it affects us, our community.
Well, you got to look at it this way. We've got to keep fighting. We got to keep hoping that things get turned around, that the Supreme Court will hear it. Hopefully the IQ in the Supreme Court is more than the total number of justices that sit there.
Yeah.
I mean, they need to understand if they don't start defending the Constitution and in comparing the laws and what's happened to what the Constitution says, their little fun pool is going to get diluted too, because the liberals are going to pack that to where it's just totally no good anymore.
Here's the thing about it, everybody. They were talking about flipping Texas. Texas was going to turn blue. It was going to be, they'd thrown tons of money in it to win all these races. Well, guess what? It didn't happen. It didn't happen. So that tells me right there we've got the same thing that's going to be going on with the same judges, with the same people, with the same politicians. So what we're going to experiment with here is we're going to reach out to the other side. We've got to take measures and find somebody who will support our bills. And like I said last night, it is fashionable for Republicans and I'm sure if Democrats can get them, to have law enforcement support them. And even the organization of CLEAT goes out and lobbies them, gives them money to do their bidding, which includes make these laws. Now, a lot of these laws, I'm sure they're lobbied and they end up on the governor's desk. They end up getting passed. And they just haven't studied them enough to know the effect it has on the public out here. Look, we understand gangs and all that stuff, but as we all know, motorcycle clubs are not gang. I don't care what level they are. They're not street gangs. They may fight with each other, but they're not out there killing citizens willy-nilly like we see going on with drive-bys and everything else. I mean, what we see happening over in Dallas, who's had a surge in killings, over 200 and something. I mean, that's L.A. level, and they don't even have any way near the population. But yet they're up there. Crime is riding high in Dallas. But yet it's a liberal-run city. Here you go, everybody. Here you go. And they're at their wits' end with it. And what they do, they called in the cowboys. Here comes the DPS. Well, the last time they did that, they promptly killed 2 people. Now, they may have deserved it, but I don't know. That's what happened when the first time they arrived. So now they've got them here incognito. But get this, everybody. We did learn over the weekend, we heard this, that there was a funeral and 53 bikers were pulled over and profiled and harassed, either going to or going from the funeral. 53.
What would happen if somebody interfered with a law enforcement funeral?
Really? Really?
Let's put the shoe on the other foot.
I mean, this doesn't happen to the general public. This doesn't happen to them. Just like we were talking about when a biker stops at a stop sign and it is stopped, harassed, and jailed for what he's wearing or who he may associate with. And understand, there are no guilt by association laws. There are none. And I don't know that the general public understands that. And that's the reason we have to say it again and again and again to anybody to listen. Of course, I thought it was interesting the other day when I was talking to a gentleman, and, you know, he was asking me about who we are and our patches and everything else. And then the subject of Waco came up, and he said, yeah, he said the police caused that. Now, public's waking up. But that took a lot of doings to get that to where somebody that's a total stranger tells me that. Because that doesn't come out of law enforcement. That doesn't come out of their narrative. No way. That came from hard work in Waco and getting the word out and shining a light on it. And it's the same way with all this other stuff we see going on. It's about shining a light on it. And let me tell you, the people that are talking about the election fraud, they've done a yeoman's job. If you don't know what a yeoman is, I'll tell you later. They've done a yeoman's job of getting the word out and shining a light on it. Now, if nobody's willing to listen, if nobody's willing to investigate, if everybody just lets it happen, it tells me they're in on it. They're in on it. Just like we see in our cases. The police are in on it. The judges are in on it. The legislatures are in on it. The governor's in on it. And nobody wants to listen. This is nothing new. But how you fight it is you shine the light on it, you keep it on it. It's like I said last night, you do not give up. You do not. It can't be in your vocabulary. Period. You know, and I'm relating all this stuff to bikers because really it's the same. It's the same. So now we're going to reach out to the other side and see, hey, look, you want to defund something? Let's start here. How about the gang database? How about the freaking FBI, Homeland Security? They can't find out whether this election was a fraud or not. They had to have a governor, a Republican governor, Democrats everywhere. It's nothing to look at here. Don't bother to look at it. A bunch of lying son of a guns. And we've elected them again and again and again, and we're ready to elect more of them. I will tell everybody this. The Republicans out there that are not fighting, the Republicans out there that are in on this, you write down their names. And when the next election cycle comes around, hopefully it's not rigged. If it is, we're fucked. That's the reason we've got to stop this right here, right now. To save what's left of the Constitution and what these bikers' cases hinge on. We got to straighten this mess out. You get everybody involved.
Wes Silver, you got it wrong. Trump didn't lose. The country lost.
Yes.
Not Trump. The country lost.
Yeah. So here we are. Man. We still have Trump trains and rallies going on. We have all kinds of stuff happening out there. It's not going to stop. And to tell you the truth about it,
we have
it
a
can't
troll
stop.
online. We have
a troll.
We have a troll.
Who's a troll?
Wes Silver.
Wes Silver. He's a troll.
Yep.
There you go.
He says it's not rigged. Trump is a con man and he's playing everything.
There you go. We knew a troll would make it on.
Yep. Yep.
So keep it up, buddy.
Yeah. Keep it up. It's entertaining.
Yeah. Yeah. So, let's move on to your,
okay.
There you go. Okay, let me get over there. We're having some fun right now. There you go. So anyway, on to COVID and what your doctor said today. This is a China virus, everybody. The damn China virus. Who guys like West is probably hiding in his apartment somewhere in his underwear. So that's
yeah. I'll tell you, it was an enlightening conversation that I had. I went for my annual physical. My doc is a biker. Mm-hmm. So, he's a pretty righteous dude. He he tells it how it is, and he is not BS. And, it's this COVID thing is all over the boards. Mm-hmm. Come to find out, the hospital in his area, now he has a vested interest in the hospital, so he knows what's going on. Come to find out that the hospital in that area is jam-packed with COVID victims, let's say.
They are victims. That's what this is. Everybody is a victim that gets
COVID
it.
Victims. They are doubling up in private rooms. They're holding people in emergency. They've got a bunch of people on respirators. Now, the one thing he never discussed or he never talked about was there's a lot of deaths. There's just a hell of a lot of sickness. He did say, however, It is really weird. He has seen 19 and 20-year-olds die that were in perfect health for no real good reason except they had COVID and it took them down. And he has seen 90-year-olds that barely had symptoms.
That's my dad.
So, yeah, he said it is all over the place, but it is overwhelming. So, you know, we have never said we don't believe it doesn't exist.
Right.
We just think we're getting hosed with this mask thing, and let's lock everybody up. You can't go anywhere. You can't do anything. There's still been a lot more deaths from influenza. And as a matter of fact, last night we Googled how many people have died from coronary disease this last year. It's over 600,000 people have died from coronary disease. Nowhere near that have dropped over from COVID.
Yeah.
We have diseases out there that are far more serious. It's just that right now, COVID is running rampant. It's going to be with us for a long time, just like the common cold, just like the influenza every year. Oh, and I did talk with the PA. I asked her, I said, what do you think of the new vaccine? She said, it's scary as hell. She doesn't know what the hell to think. She said,
that's all part of the misinformation and the chaos that Democrats have been trying to inflict on everybody for the last 4 years.
It's her humble opinion that it was approved way too quickly. So, I'm not one of these anti-vaccine people because I'll tell you, I have seriously regretted not getting my flu shot in a year that I haven't gotten it.
Yeah.
Because I got pretty damn sick. And, my doc always told me, he said, even if they get it wrong with the vaccine for that year, because it's a what-if situation. They're hoping they hit the mark. Sometimes they don't. He said, a lot of times the vaccine that you did get, even though it wasn't on the mark, will at least make the symptoms a little less worse.
Here's the way I look at it. The vaccine's going to end up being a personal decision.
That's right.
It's going to end up being a personal decision. You're going to have to look at it and weigh the odds.
But I'm going to wait a little bit.
I will say this. You don't want it. You don't want it. It's a crapshoot. It really is. And, somebody said, well, it sterilizes women. I promise you a woman over 55 or 60 is not going to be worried about that. A guy is not going to be worried about that. That's a good part of the population right there. And so, young people are going to survive this for the most part. They're going to survive it. They know it. That's the reason they're out there. And let me say to everybody right now, I'm going to show you some stuff here. Show and tell, everybody. Show and tell. This is what they want us to wear. Now that's a white cotton cloth mask. This is what they suggest we wear. And most of them come from China. Oh, yeah. Now, does this stop the COVID?
And they smell funny right out of the box.
Yeah. Does this stop COVID? Oh, hell no. But they said, well, look, if it makes you feel good, if it makes you feel comfortable, yeah, it doesn't hurt to wear it. That's what Dr. Fauci said himself. Healthy people don't need to wear these. They don't need to wear them. The only people who really need to be wearing these things are people that have it, so they don't spread it. But here we go. Now, these right here, this is the PPE, or the PPP, or whatever you want to call the damn thing. The strings break on them all the time. Now, they want the medical personnel to have these and the better ones than these. So,
I've worn mine for months.
yeah, and this is what you see these hanging on people's mirrors. Now they've replaced the dice on the mirrors. Yeah. Your mask is hanging on the mirrors, you know. And now we have PPP, and I meant to post a picture of that, pollution going on. Yeah, they're all over the parking lots. They're all, you know, there's some laying in the floor of the mall. The kids' masks, because they throw them off. They won't wear them. And then there's the homemade mask. Yeah, my sister made that one. Now this has got a filter in it, one of those air conditioner particle special filter. This has got a filter in it. It's probably better than the cotton mask that you could make a mask out of a pair of underwear. Same thing. It would be the same thing. And so, you know, then again, Dr. Fauci said, I've seen the video, the only people that should be wearing these are sick people. The only people that should be wearing these are the people on the front lines in the hospitals. And you see many of them that are wearing a mask and a shield and everything else. You see the virologist people that work with this shit, I mean, they're in a spacesuit. But the chances of you getting this are really high.
Let me add, it is not healthy to live in a sterile
It is not. Well, that's like
we all need bacteria.
Oh, and then there's this one, everybody. This thing that makes it look like a duck's bill. That's a N95. This here is it's a particulate respirator. In other words, it catches the particles. Yeah. That was given to me when I went to visit my dad at the nursing home. Well, it's really not a nursing home. It's assisted living. So now they've got them locked down. And they did that over a month ago before I had the COVID. It wasn't me that gave him the COVID. It wasn't the workers there. But he's doing well. He's 92. Fixing to be 93 in December 27th. So it's the chances are that you're going to get this because people are not doing the right things. Try to go through a day without touching your face, especially you guys with beards. Or after putting one of those damn masks on, it's got your beard all messed up, and you do like this to straighten it out. You go to a gas pump, you're not wearing gloves or you're not cleaning your hands every time. You go to Costco, where everybody's a blithering idiot. Walmart's even worse, a super Walmart. And half the people running around there have the mask below their nose. So, like I said, we don't even know where we caught ours. But we had been taking precautions. Now our club has had some events. But we were running along smooth. Then all of a sudden we weren't. And so but everybody's okay. Everybody's okay. And the chances that you're going to be okay are high too. We're just saying. And I do believe the reason we're having so many deaths is because they send people home with no information. If you can't breathe, go to the hospital. So you go home, you sit there till you have freaking pneumonia or double pneumonia. And then you go to the hospital. And from that point on right there, you're behind. You're behind. So everybody, you got a decision to make when these vaccines come out. Oh, yeah, you do like OG, and probably I'll do. We'll wait and see what happens. After all, Obama said he was going to take it. Bush said he was going to take it, and I'm sure Trump has already had it. So we'll see. Maybe that sorry son of a gun will kick over. We'll see what Nancy Pelosi does. And crazies like them. AOC. That bunch. Just saying, everybody. Just saying. You know what we see out there? And I kind of want to do a U-turn here for a minute. Is these people that the deep state and the politicians and the socialists, they've been working on this stuff for a very, very long time. And there's 4 steps to socialism that who was that Russian guy? I'm trying to remember his name. Anyway, he had 4 steps to socialism. And the first one is demoralization, where they demoralize everybody. In other words, they do that. They go after religion. Religion is first. That's the reason I was wondering what the churches are doing and saying out there. Going after religion is first. Then they infiltrate the schools. Start working on the kids. And it's obvious that has happened.
Oh, it's been going on for a long time.
Yeah, decades. They say it takes at least 2 generations to do this. Then you got the media, and now the social media, being as it's so prevalent. They're all in on it. Then there's destabilization. Is next. With massive government, bureaucrats running everything backwards, trying to cause as much crap as they can. And at the same time, politicians are offering free shit.
Karl Marx.
Huh?
Iron
Karl
Horse.
Marx. Yeah,
Iron
that's
Horse
it.
Says it's
Thank you. And see, our people on the chat line are so smart. Yeah, they are. That's the heat's on us now. We're out here. We're doing this basically off the top of our head in a few notes. Destabilization, massive government, and a lot of free stuff. Kind of get everybody ginned up, getting people going back and forth with each other. Then the big one, and this is the reason George Soros said, now is the time to strike. The crisis. Events that create a panic, whether it's real or man-made. Create panic where they deny or alter the Constitution. Where they can, what do we see going on? They've changed election laws. They make laws. They're out there trying to enforce laws that are not laws. And they are denying us our freedoms per the Constitution. They shouldn't be locking everybody up. They shouldn't be closing businesses down. They shouldn't be closing small businesses down in favor of corporations. This is the reason these corporations are all behind this. They're getting a free ride. They're getting a free pass while they're making everybody else. They're destroying small businesses. And they said, oh, gee, within the next 3 weeks, we're going to lose 10,000 more restaurants. 10,000 nationwide.
Yeah, the latest I saw was Como is about to declare a total ban on all indoor eating in New York.
All indoor eating. Let's finish them off, everybody. Let's finish them off. This is what they're trying to do. It's, it all goes down to the reset. Remember Hillary's reset? They keep trying to have these resets. Mm-hmm. Now they want a global reset. They want a global tax. And we're the big penny bank. We're the ones they want the worst. And then after that, after the crisis, there's normalization. That's where everybody accepts it. And what do we see going on now? We're seeing everybody, well, Trump needs to concede. Well, yeah, Joe Biden won the election. Normalization. Keep that in mind as we go along here. Is this normal? Are you going to accept it? Are you going to accept Venezuelan type elections? Are you going to accept cheating? Are you going to accept what's fixing to come at us? It's your choice. Are you going to rise up? What I'm saying, everybody. And I did put a link to a video on Sons of Liberty Writers MC today. And it was interesting because they had some Chinese guys on that, I think it's NDTV or NDT News. Mm-hmm. I may have the letters backwards there. But the Chinese, they had some professors speaking at universities over there in China. And they were talking about how they got along with us for 30 years or more, 30, 40 years, until Trump. Then they talked about how the Biden family was so well connected. And, of course, then they talked about the guys they had on the inside here, and they were all laughing. The audience was laughing at us. You need to view that, and I'll see if I can find it tonight and make it more prevalent. That was incredible. China, and they had a deal on there where they were bringing in ballots, fake ballots, by the plane load. By the plane loads. This is something else, guys. This is something else. I'm not going to accept it. I know OG's not. I know Dutch is not. Yeah.
I don't accept it at all.
So we're pissed off. It's what we are. Pissed off. But it's is that Insane Throttle?
Yeah.
No, it is. How you doing, buddy? So anyway, it's time for us to act. It's like I said, last night I was talking. I know in our community, the biker community, I know the motorcycle ministries hadn't stopped having church.
Nope.
There's no way they're gonna not.
I see some
Praise the
local
Lord.
churches and the motorcycle ministry has maintained. A few local churches have, and I've seen some churches just totally shut their doors.
Yeah.
It's a shame.
Yeah. And they shouldn't do that. They should stand up. I mean, that right now they've got the Supreme Court on their side. Well, we're certainly going to get out there and investigate it this weekend. We're going to find out. We'll let you know next week what we find out. And yes, we'll contact some motorcycle ministries and see what's going on. I know what they're doing. Yeah. Hey, thank you, buddy. Yeah, I'm okay. We had the COVID and we got over it, and I'm doing well. And OG and I are lucky we got our cancer surgeries in before the before they shut down the hospitals, which was another goofy thing. But hey, we're gonna keep track of things. We're gonna keep talking about motorcycle profiling. We're gonna keep talking about gang databases, especially because one doesn't go without the other. It doesn't. It doesn't. So we've got to shine the light on it as we head toward this next legislative session here in Texas. And we encourage you to be there. That's going to be January 25th. Now, it's not going to be what it usually is. I'm sure they're not going to let us into the Capitol building en masse. They're not going to do that. So we're having to make some adjustments. And there's going to be a few surprises. Oh, yeah. There's going to be a few surprises. I can't say what it is. It's going to be. But we're ready to rock and roll in the next legislative session. And we encourage you to be there. Independents, whoever, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Be there and support the cause. You know, bikers' rights is just like everybody else. We expect to be treated like the general public's treated and not be treated as misfits, no matter who you are. When a police officer pulls you over on the side of the road, he knows nothing about you. And if you're in that gang database, you could have been put in there arbitrarily by just some fool who was maybe taking pictures on the top of a building at a funeral. He has no idea who you are, whether you committed a crime, whether with zero due process. They shouldn't be doing that. No probable cause. Zero, that you committed a crime or that your club has committed a crime. Period. Now, do people get in trouble? Yes, they do. But we will say it again and again and again. Law enforcement commits more crimes than all the clubs put together. All of them in this country. They commit more crimes. Yet they're free to roam around the country and judge everybody else. Just like we see happen again and again and again to minorities and people that maybe live in neighborhoods that are not so good. And many of them are there not by their choice. But what we're going to have now is we're going to have people making a lot of promises that they're not going to keep. And you're going to pay for it. The promises that they're not going to keep. That's what I'm saying. You got anything in closing, OG?
Keep your reset button ready.
That's right. We're going to reset everything, all right. Like I said, write down those names of these politicians that are in on this. And there is another election cycle coming in 24 months. It comes around fast. Don't think it doesn't. Comes around quick. They barely get their asses set down and start cheating the hell out of everybody before it's around again. And we got to fix what's going on right now. right now. It should go no further. And the Supreme Court needs to do their job, regardless of what a politician thinks. They need to follow the Constitution. And it's our job to save it. With that,
stay healthy, ride safe.
That's right. If you don't have a motorcycle, buy one. I strongly suggest it, no matter what your age is. We was going across the ferry in Galveston. We ran into a couple there, 80-something. I think they were 83 at the time. They put 15,000 miles a year on their motorcycle, run around visiting their friends. It's never too late, guys. It's never too late. Buy a motorcycle, ride like hell. Be safe, ride safe. Bye.